If you want to be taken seriously as a writer, there are certain pieces of advice that you're told to follow. And as somebody who is on her 8th writing project, trust me, I have seen and searched a plethora of writing tips. But the truth is that some of the most repeated writing advice actually ends up doing more damage to people's books and their creative journey. So by the end of this video, you will know which pieces of advice to avoid, why we're leaving it in 2025, and most importantly, what to do instead. So let's talk about it. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Geneva. I'm a literary fiction, fantasy, and romance writer here on YouTube, Instagram, and Substack. If you're not new here, I missed you. I know my hair is red / brown, whatever color this is. There's been updates. But one thing about me is I am incredibly passionate about literary analysis and understanding the mechanics of good novel writing. So I'm so excited to get into this list. Maybe I'll even expose an unpopular opinion. Who knows? I'm nervous. But the goal, obviously, with this video isn't to be contrarian. It's to share what actually helps writers based on my personal experience and my writing journey thus far. Okay, tip number 1. You have to write every single day. Can we please leave this in 2025? Like, I'm tired. Do not go into 2026 thinking that you need to sit down and work on your project every single day. I know we all want to get disciplined. We all want to actually commit ourselves to finishing our books. But this piece of writing advice kind of sounds like how to burn yourself out 101. Okay, I understand that regularly engaging with your project allows you to be more connected to it. However, there's a reason people don't work out every day. There's a reason people don't go to school every day. There's a reason the Sabbath exists for my Christians. I say this all the time, but writing is a high cognitive load task. If you're constantly working without nurturing yourself, it's not going to end well. I just spent my December writing a full novella, and I did not write every single day in order to finish it in a month. Some days are for reading, some days are for thinking, some days are for simply just focusing on other aspects of your life. The central aspect to being disciplined is understanding your limits. Now, I'm a science girl outside of writing, so I'm going to try to make this as literary as possible. But if you make the path to a goal too hard to do, you're not going to do it. Why? Because your brain starts to associate that pathway with pain, and it wants to obviously avoid that. Hence why your motivation decreases, and why by February you won't be writing every day. You'll be writing maybe once a week at best. And I say that with so much love because we've all been there. Trust me, we've all been there. So what to do instead? Come up with a sustainable writing schedule. Maybe you're not writing 7 days a week, but instead you're doing 5 or 4. What I did to finish Project Ribcage was set a weekly word count goal that incorporated periods of rest so that I was not forcing myself to sit down and work on it every single day. But I still hit those word counts because I allowed myself to reset and come back refreshed and ready to go. Small progress is still progress, and it's so important to remember that writing a book is supposed to be fun. Challenging, yes, but fun. So let's not bring this into 2026, okay? Tip number 2, ask for feedback from everyone. You know that saying that too many cooks in the kitchen spoils the broth? Right. If you never heard it before, it's basically saying that when you have too many people trying to manage one thing, it leads to a poor outcome because there are too many different opinions, experience levels, etc. I think it's the same thing with feedback for your writing. If you give it to too many people, 1, you get too many conflicting opinions, and then you end up not knowing which one to trust. But I think the most damaging part of this advice is that you start to lose the vision that you had for your story. I actually went through this a lot in school because I used to take a lot of AP research classes and a lot of English classes. When I would give my papers to my classmates, I would come home and be so stuck because so many different people were saying so many different things, and some people were contradicting other people, and it was just a mess. Okay, we're not co-signing this in 2026. Instead, we're going to do 2 things. 1, get feedback from the right people. Only ask for help from people that you trust to have the same opinions and tastes to support your vision but fix the storytelling. And number 2 is only get feedback once you have actually finished a full draft. I see a lot of people asking for feedback chapters at a time or acts at a time, and that not only slows down the whole process but also induces a lot of nitpicking because you haven't actually finished or figured out your story. I don't want this for us, okay? I don't want this for you. I don't want it for me. So we're not going to do it anymore. Tip number 3. Now, I'm hesitant to talk about this point because I think writing in general, like there's no style of writing that is universal for everyone. I happen to be the type of person that needs to edit as I go because I don't want to get to the end of my book and then have a complete mess that I don't know how to work with. I kind of look at it as a plastic cup stack. Okay, if I can clearly see that one of the cups is misaligned, I'm not going to keep stacking because the tower is going to fall. So if I'm working on a book and I can clearly see it going in the wrong direction, I'm going to stop and I'm going to edit it. I'm not going to wait until the end and be like, oh, I'll just fix this later. Perhaps not. I think this also goes along with the conversation of outlining and the extent to which you should do it. I personally like a very detailed outline. I don't like to leave myself a lot of wiggle room, but that's because in my brain, the outline is the story and the manuscript is just putting words to the outline. But I know not everybody thinks about it like that, so I'm not going to be like, oh, everyone needs a novel-sized outline for their book. Like, that's ridiculous. The only thing that matters is that you end up with a solid book at the end. It doesn't matter how you got there. Actually, I just lied. Do not use AI to write your book, okay? In an increasingly artificial world, your mind and your way of thinking is one of the most valuable things that you have to offer to those around you and to yourself. Your brain, your lovely brain, should be your prized possession. So use it. And don't take a shortcut that strips you of all the growth that you could have gone through if you wrote the book yourself. So it's hard, yes, but you have to do it. But anyway, I'm going to end this section by saying I personally would not advise the write now, edit later. But if that works for you, by all means, don't let me stop you. Tip number 4 is to make your characters likable. Now, this is an interesting piece of advice because I recently read The Poppy War and I didn't like it. And part of that is because I didn't like the main character. So then wouldn't that make your characters likable a good piece of writing advice? Well, no. And I say that because being likable is not the same as being compelling. If you're writing a character that has an unlikable personality, I think that's an interesting way to go, and it can work in a lot of different cases. But to be successful, you have to pair those negative personality traits with other important character metrics. Is the character relatable enough so that the reader can understand why they make the choices they do without necessarily agreeing with them? And then the other part is that character complex enough to be intriguing to the reader without us liking the character? I talked about both of these concepts in my last video, how to create book characters. I highly recommend, but you know, that's just me. Tip number 5, write what sells and follow the market. Write books people want to read. Follow market trends. Literally, are you trying to give me a headache? Like, let me be reasonable. On one hand, I can understand the intention behind this advice. Hold on, I need to the sun. Sorry. On one hand, I can understand where this advice comes from. You know, people spend months to years working on books, and it makes sense that they would want to almost guarantee a spot on someone's shelf. But when this becomes your guiding principle, I think you lose one of the most important aspects of being a writer and writing a book in the first place, which is your perspective. I have worked in social media for 2 years, okay? And trust me when I say that trends move faster than books do. By the time you have written, queried, got an agent, and published a novel, the market has already moved on to the next thing. And you've now trained yourself to prioritize external validation over internal conviction. So in 2026, we're creating art, not creating content. Write it down. Tattoo it. Instead, a better question is, what do I write better than anyone else because of who I am and what I love and how I observe the world around me? Books that last aren't catered to a demand, they create a demand. Write that down too. If there is one thing I hope you take away from this video, is that writing is a very personal process and it's not built on rule following. The advice that usually helps you the most sometimes isn't even found on the internet. Learning to tell the difference between what you need and what is simply somebody's opinion is not only just a good mindset to have for writing, but just life in general. It's something I'm definitely working on this year. And yeah, best part of writing is sitting with yourself and figuring out what story you can tell and using methods to do that are catered to you. So if this video resonated with you, you'll probably enjoy the rest of my content. I talk a lot about craft and how to write with intention, as well as the occasional vlog to document my journey as well. I think it's nice to understand the person behind the advice, you know? Like I said in the beginning, I have 2 other platforms, Instagram and Substack, that I've been building a lovely community on. And this community has been really nice too. A lot of you have actually reached out and DM'd me on Instagram, and it's been so nice talking to you guys. So please continue to do that. But if I have successfully hooked you, welcome to the channel. I will see you in the next one. Bye.